Is there such a thing as downwind efoiling? Well, turned out that there is. And I'm gonna try to prove that to you right now. Won't be the perfect day, but better than nothing.
Well, for those who don't know, let me try to explain what downwinding is. But before that, let me tell you the difference between efoil surfing and downwinding surfing. As you know, a efoil can actually be a little bit heavy for surfing, anything between 50 to 60 pounds. Now, that's why the ideal conditions for efoil surfing would be a calm day with big swells. Not only the swells, and also a nice interval between waves, at least 8 seconds and above, meaning every 8 seconds you're gonna have a calm flat surface and then another wave gonna come in. The waves doesn't have to break for sake, they don't have actually to break, but the swells, as long as they're big and powerful, they have enough force to push the board forward. And of course, the wing size, it plays a big role on surfing the waves with efoil. But I'm gonna get into that with more details later. As you can see over here, these waves are just perfect to push a heavy efoil forward, and you can glide and go long distance and make small turns. But of course, places like this, you're not gonna find everywhere. Especially where I am in Massachusetts, we don't have beautiful, nice, long waves like those. So now let's talk about downwinding foiling. First of all, the board, it's much lighter than an efoil. Of course, it's the same concept, but without the barrier and the motor. Usually, the board and hydrofoil together combined might weigh anything between 10 to 15 pounds combined. They're much lighter, made out of carbon fiber and very stiff. Now, the conditions, of course, are completely different than what you saw in the video before. First, we have to have a strong wind pushing you, which in return makes small chops. Now, ideally, those chops can be anything between 2 to 5 seconds interval. The ideal interval is about 2 seconds. And as you can see over here, this guy is just gliding and pumping from wave to wave. So basically what he's doing is connecting a small wave to another wave to another wave, and using the wind and the pumping action to connect between swells and small chops. And also, of course, the wing changes and also the size of the waves would help you to make a longer pump. In my opinion, it's an amazing sport and super fun and really makes you burn a lot of energy. It's a super fun sport. And of course, it's not the perfect sport for efoiling. However, you can still have a little bit of action of the whole world, meaning you can do a little bit surfing, and you can do a little bit pumping, and you can do a little bit downwinding with the efoil. Now, my footage is not that great, but before I show my footage, let me get into details about what I think would be the best wing for this type of sport with efoil downwinding. Let's quick talk about wings over here. What I think would be, in my opinion, the best wing for downwind efoiling. Now, let's start on the left with the cruiser wing. The cruiser wing has a dihedral shape, meaning the wing tips turns downwards. The pros about this wing is it has more lift. It's a very stable wing. However, it's a wing that is going to be a little bit slow on the turns. Let's jump all the way to the right now and talk about the Flow Wing series. The Flow Wing series has a Enhedral angle shape, meaning the wingtips go upwards, which make these wings a little bit faster and especially very maneuverable. This wings turns in a dime, but the only downside about these wings is that they don't have as much lift as the Cruise series. However, especially the Flow S series is the perfect wing for surfing. Finally, going back to the middle, let's talk about the brand new Jet Wing. Now, unfortunately, I have not tried this wing yet. I intend to do so and give a better review in the future. However, I spoke to my friend Nathan. Nathan works for Fliteboard, and he has tried all the wings, and he tried the Jet Wing. And he told me the characteristics of this wing is that it has a lot of glide. And you can see over here on this design, the Jet Wing has an almost zero angle shape, meaning it's not dihedral, neither enhedral shape, keeping a almost straight profile, which in return makes this wing glide for a long period of time. It has a good amount of speed, a great amount of gliding, of course, a medium turn ratio, but it's going to be better than the Cruiser, but of course, not as good as the Flow series. However, in my opinion, for downwind efoiling, this would be the perfect wing setup. Alright guys, sorry for making such a long video, but finally here's now the footage that I had, my attempt of downwind efoiling. In my defense, the previous days was amazing. However, at this day over here, the wind was good, but the waves are not that great. They're pretty much a choppy day. There was not like waves per se, but they're just basically very small waves, one after another, making very bumpy. And you probably noticed that I was going upwind. And right here, I'm making a turn so I can go downwind. At the same time, when you're making this turn, it's very critical for you to switch your weight back, because you need to switch your center of gravity back on the wing so you can pump a little more better and glide better. Once you start going downwind, then the fun is start. Now once again, unfortunately the video is not that great, but you can see over here that I'm pumping my legs sometimes and I'm looking left and right to try to connect waves. I was using over here the 1100 flow wing and the True Glide propeller. Now the trick part is that you have to try to match your speed to the speed of the wave. And the easiest thing to do is for you to find that gear that's gonna keep you there. In this case over here, I was using gear 6. And once I got that gear 6, it was very easy to either go forward or slow down and sometimes just glide. I had my finger on the trigger at all times, and basically what you do is look left and right and try to connect bumps. It's super fun, and your legs just burns after a while. It's basically a combination of all senses, because you gotta be super alert to where to go. You gotta be constantly looking left and right to connect the bumps. At the same time, you gotta be pumping if you need to, and sometimes you glide. You glide because you go faster than the power that you put it in. But it's just super fun. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a huge video. However, I would appreciate if you can leave your comments below. Let me know what you think about this. And here's me crashing and saying goodbye to you guys later.
I'm dead, man. I know. I'm anxious to see how the footage came out, but hey, it is what it is. See you guys next time. This was fun, but I'm dead. See you guys next time. Woo! Take care.